Every time I buy a shoe, I always try it on first. There's been one exception, the Puma Deviate Nitro 1, which I loved, and that was the first edition of it, Nitro 1. And so they've just kind of come out with the Nitro 3. So here it is, delivered to the doorstep. I never get anything delivered to me at this house. So, and I have to admit there's something exciting to get looking at these pair of shoes for the first time. So here we go. The Puma, the Deviate Nitro, I really liked them. I liked them a lot. I thought there's just a couple things they could do to fix them up. And so we're going to find out if they do that. So here you go, Puma, the Deviate Nitro 3. And there you go. Nice and slick and brand new. Excited for these ones. And as you know, we'll be back in 50 miles to let you know kind of initial impressions how those first 50 miles went. We'll be back again at 300 miles to let you know how it held up through 300 miles and how many miles you can expect to get for your money. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. So here we are 200 miles later on this shoe. Yes, that's 150 miles later than I anticipated I would do this review, but I have a very good reason. It's that I'm lazy. And we can file this under the better late than never category. I ran with the first version of the Puma Deviate Nitro. I really liked it, but it had a couple things about it that I really thought they needed to change. But before we get into that, let's just hit the basics of this one. It's a neutral stability shoe made for road and track running, moderate to high cushioning. One of the things that changed from this version 1 to the version 3 was the drop. Version 1 was 8 millimeters, so this is 10 millimeters, so the heel's 10 millimeters higher than the forefoot. Added material, you actually have a little bit of a weight gain, almost a half an ounce. The total weight on this one, I wear a size 12, was 10.11 ounces, and that's 315 grams. It ran true to size. However, this is probably the narrowest shoe I've ever put on my foot, which is great for me. Probably not for a lot of folks out there, so we just need to be aware, but otherwise I would call it true to size. For sustainability, you know, I just try and rate what it is in the shoes. Puma, they have a whole website that's dedicated not just to the clothing and stuff, but to the whole company. They list 4 different areas that are targets for sustainability: human rights, climate action, health and safety. Clothing and shoes fall into that last category of circularity. So that they have these goals. Did they make them? I don't know. You know, you can read more about it, but that's getting beyond the scope of what I do. I just want to see what they've done for the shoe, how much recycled material are they using, like non-toxic dyes or in the dyeing process or whatnot. I didn't see an awful lot about that, so I'm giving them a B-. And for the cost, it's still $160, which is what the version 1 cost. So this Deviate Nitro has a carbon plate, which other similar shoes that have a carbon plate that are daily trainers are the Saucony Endorphin Speed, the Hoka One Carbon X, and I think the New Balance Fusel TC. However, one thing that separates Puma from the rest is they use a nitro foam here in the sole to help with that responsiveness and cushioning. Now before we get into the fit, I'm going to do a little plug to subscribe to the channel. See, my goal is every shoe I get, I take for at least 300 miles. So that way I can tell you how many miles you can expect to get out of your shoe, how many miles for your money. So in addition to the 300 mile review, I try and do a 50-mile review, or in this case 200-mile review. Besides these shoe reviews and a few of the other things we put in there, like how many shoes should you have in rotation. Our main goal, Racing Nation, we're doing a race in every state, and we want to take you with us. Every time we go somewhere, we run with our GoPro so you can experience the race with us, but even more importantly, more fun, try all the different types of food, local food, and we'll go and see what type of attractions. So I think they're pretty fun videos. Hopefully you would too. So that's my little plug. So if you haven't subscribed, to go ahead and do that now. For the fit, as I said earlier, this is the narrowest shoe that I've ever run with. I have really narrow feet. So what that says is this is a match made in heaven. And here he comes. No shoe review would be complete without an appearance by Albert. Albert has a terrible habit of just eating every pile of poo he sees. So right now he has a bad stomach, you know, you wouldn't know, and he's still up and at him and still getting in front of the camera. So we'll have to just go ahead and pause this so we can remove him. As I stated earlier, this is the narrowest shoe that I've ever worn. I have really narrow feet, so for me this was a match made in heaven. Be warned, if you like this shoe, it would be best to try it on. They do sell a wider version, so I strongly recommend if you have issues with shoes fitting tight, you really need to try this on before you buy it. But for me, it was absolutely perfect. Starting up here in the toe box, it has kind of your typical double mesh, but you know, for me it just felt lighter and more pliable, similar to the Pegasus, where I just, you know, almost feel like a kind of like a ballet slipper, so to speak, though, just the way that it just fits on top of you. And then as you come up to the midfoot, a nice narrow tongue here that is gusseted. The tongue's a little funky, as you see. It's, you know, with the way they've got it cut, but whatever they've done, it stays in place. I've had no issues at all with any type of migration. As we get to the heel, now this is where I had a problem with version 1. They had some of these, like, bumper is what I call them, pads down inside the heel, and then as at the top of the heel, it's just really thin, and those bumper things, they just never held my foot in place. My heel, I always had some heel slippage, and so they've redesigned it to what's my favorite is they start real low with the padding. As it comes up to the ankle collar, it widens up. It's kind of at its thickest point right here around this ankle collar. So they address that. It fits great. Another thing they added is on the back here, right? There's just this little plastic strip, almost like one of those Breathe Right nose strips, right? But it's funny, it provides just the perfect amount of rigidity in this heel. So I loved everything about the fit on this shoe. As for the ride, I've never had a shoe that gave me the same amount of responsiveness from anywhere from a slow dog walk to doing strides. No matter what, this shoe just had a great peppiness and bounce to it. A lot of shoes I always find you got to find a certain cadence, you know, if they like to go fast, if you go slow, they're not great. I loved it for everything, and this was also on a lot of different surfaces because I don't just run on roads, but I do crushed gravel. You know, every ride and up here through 200 is just been fantastic. So it's not just this carbon plate, but I think more importantly, this nitro foam that Puma uses. I read somewhere, I think maybe Skechers uses it as well, but you know, this nitro foam and just this whole design, even when I had the version 1, I really liked it. I knew they were onto something with the shoe. Was just that heel issue that I had. You know, they fixed that, and now it's just, the ride has just been great. It breathes great as well, even though it's a black shoe and in the summer it still felt nice, light and airy. Another great thing about this is when it would hit the ground, I felt all that force and weight would just seem to disperse and leak out of the shoe and in return you just get this trampoline responsiveness, set you on your way. If I had to find one thing to be a little picky about, you know, they increase the stack height of this shoe, so not just, you know, the increase for the heel drop, but the whole stack height. Sometimes I felt like when I'd land, it almost felt like the landing pad was a little narrow. Maybe, you know, that narrow shoe, who knows, you know. Look, I didn't have any issues with twisting ankles or anything, but I guess that'd be the one thing where sometimes I felt like the landing base was a little bit narrow, not quite as stable as some of your wider ones. But the trade-off for all that responsiveness, thumbs up. For the grip and wear, most shoes are the same amount of grip, but once again, Puma has separated itself. This Puma grip, there it is right there, this Puma grip sole. And you know, even though I just said sometimes that stability seemed narrow, it gripped great. And again, all the different surfaces, As I said, usually they're all the same, and I don't talk so much about the grip unless one's really good or really bad. This one's really good. And as far as the wear, you know, a heel striker, 200 miles in, and there's still a good amount of rubber on that landing spot. You know, the forefoot looks great. So, and the ride's just as good, the responsiveness. So 200 miles in, and as happy as I was at mile 1. To summarize, I got a new favorite shoe, the Puma Deviate Nitro. It ticked every box for me, and even some of the boxes I didn't know, like having this strap and how much I enjoyed the stability on this heel cup. It's really took my running to another level. Well, to summarize, folks, I have a new favorite shoe, the Puma Deviate Nitro. It ticked every single box, and then some boxes I didn't know, such as the way this plastic heel strap reinforcement. You know, every ride, no matter what, was just great. 200 miles in with my new favorite shoe. I'll be back in another 100 miles to let you know what it's like at 300, and also how many more miles you can expect to get for your money on the Puma Deviate Nitro. And what I'm really excited to announce is we're finally getting back out to Race the Nation after over a year hiatus. We're signed up to do the Flying Pig in Cincinnati. We'll be doing different race distances. I'm going to go ahead and take on the marathon again. Really excited to get out there so we can share with you the race, the taste, and the place of Cincinnati. So thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And also, if you got thoughts about this shoe, you know, please put it in the comment section down below. I love it when people comment so folks can read about other folks' experiences and not just mine. So again, we appreciate you watching. Keep racing one, exercise, explore, enjoy, and get out there and race the nation.